Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I found this out again yesterday. Good friends are the rare jewels of life. They're difficult to find and impossible to replace. Thank you for your kindness. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on this Tuesday, April 23rd. Call in. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations involved in a great big spring tire sale right now. Stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go with the Patriot for our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very, very much. How are you? It's good to hear from you.
I'm doing good, and how are you?
I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I thank you for your kindness. You're one of the great people, and I really enjoy having you call in. Thank you so much.
And thank you, and you have a great day.
All right, thanks a lot. We're going to get to a whole bunch of news here in just a little bit, but right now I want to get to the weather forecast. Holy smokes, I know old Wheels is chomping on the bit over there. And, of course, Roger and the crew at K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn bring you the weather right away this morning. They're located on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. I mean, their front yard is just covered with tools and equipment for you. You're not sure what you need? Give them a call. Find out. 678-3122. K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another beautiful day here in the valley. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We're expecting mostly sunny skies for today. A little bit of a breeze out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. Gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. Mostly sunny skies, high of 70. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 47. Tomorrow, another nice one. Mostly sunny skies, high of 71. Expecting an overnight low of 44. Mid-70s under mostly sunny skies for Thursday. As we hit Friday, maybe Saturday, slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, but let's focus on the positives. Mostly sunny and 70 today. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. Job well done. And don't forget K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And like I said just a moment ago, the best of rental on tools and equipment you need for your spring jobs. Give them a call if you have questions. 678-3122. K&R Rental. Really good people. By the way, don't forget Thursday is sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, and they're located at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. You bet the sale that works for you. Merv, May, Cade, Rogge, Lance, Judy, the whole outfit. Number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. That number again, 678-9411. Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Thursday is sale day at 10:30, the sale that works for you. And real quick, I'm trying to gather up and double up here. I got a bunch of things to go through. I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. I've got a bag of Rumpel Crumplies I got to take in there myself, as a matter of fact, at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You know, we've been going in there for a long, long time, and all my clothes, as a matter of fact, just the other day, and this is a true story, I went to the closet and I said, I don't remember buying that shirt. Well, I hadn't worn it for a long time, and then I had it in the Rumpel Crumplies and took it down there, and it came back looking brand spanking new. They are the best at what they do for you. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Okay, I was gone yesterday, and I apologize to you, the audience, and Gina and Wheels, all of our guests. I am really sorry. Got up, felt really good, had breakfast, worked out in my little gym for a little bit, and whoa. All of a sudden, the world turned upside down. Literally. I had a really bad case of the dizzies, and vertigo hit me yesterday. And no reason, don't understand why, didn't feel good at all. And Deanne took me into the emergency room, and they ran a bunch of tests and everything. And honestly, I don't know anything. I don't know a thing, except I feel really good today. That's all I can tell you. I feel really good today. But I appreciate all your kind thoughts. I had calls and emails. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you. I feel really, really good, and hopefully it'll stay that way. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by, please. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Good morning. They get there early in the morning at 7:30 and leave the doors open till 5 Monday through Friday. Absolutely for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Nobody better. Over 6 decades of serving you. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric. Time to think about those air conditioners and make sure they work efficiently and cool. Get your filters at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. 678-0459. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Missed you yesterday, but glad to see you're doing great today. At the Burley Senior Center, we're having pulled pork sandwiches today, and mixed vegetables, and yummy desserts. I haven't decided yet.
Okay. Joe, by the way, when you have pulled pork, who's got the job of pulling all the pork?
Well, I don't know. I don't watch them do that, so that's a secret, I think.
Okay. Yummy dessert, and we invite everybody to go over for lunch, and lunch is only, what, $5?
$5, yep.
You can't beat that with a stick, and then you get a chance to meet the world-famous Yummy Man.
You won't go away hungry.
Okay, Joe. Hey, that's right there on the Senior Center on Overland in Burley. Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate you and all you do for us.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your call. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I was talking to my good friend George Mass earlier this morning, and he brought up a really good point. The water's coming back into the canals, and maybe the kids that were using that as kind of a little playground during the non-water months of, running down there, doing whatever. Hey, it's not like that now. Kids, stay away from the canals, stay away from the water. It is extremely dangerous, and even for adults. I'm chuckling because I ran into it with my lawnmower years ago. It wasn't funny. And so anybody be careful out there. The water's back. And be careful. By the way, too, I want to remind everybody about Denny's Restaurant. Holy moly, Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location serving you at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. We had a fantastic, fun lunch bunch last week over at Denny's, America's Diner. You've got to try the banana berry caramel crepe breakfast. Unbelievably good and delicious. Or the strawberry vanilla crepe breakfast. I had those the other day. They are phenomenal. All the new menu choices at Denny's Restaurant. America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. America's Diner is Denny's Restaurant. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Mr. Bell. I'm so glad you're feeling better and back on the air.
I do feel good, but I sure wished I knew what caused that.
Yeah, must have been your orneriness coming out maybe, huh?
I knew you'd give me a slap upside the noggin.
You know we love you.
What's cooking in your world, Donna?
Well, not a lot. I'd like to take a minute, if I could, and thank you for all your advertisement and stuff for the J.R. Strunk benefit dinner.
Well, you're very welcome.
I'd like to thank all the sponsors who, donated items of their, workplaces, and the people who donated brought things in to raffle off. We had a huge success for JR.
Wonderful.
We had a little bit of a hiccup on Thursday, and had me kind of scrambling for a little bit, but with the grace of God and a wonderful bishop who opened up his church to us, and the people who called people to let them know that the venue had changed.
Mm-hmm.
It was phenomenal,
Wow.
And I want to thank everybody and the public. Nobody can do this by themselves. It takes an army to do. And a lot of people willing to step up and help.
Absolutely, in anything or in any project. But, I am so glad it was successful. And if JR's listening this morning, God bless you, man. And we just have our prayers headed right in your direction for recovery and the very best of JR Strunk.
Yes, I think all the prayers that we've been sending and people calling him, that makes a big difference. It just kind of makes a person feel better.
Absolutely.
But we do want to reiterate a thank you to you for all you do for all of us, Zeb, not just for George and I, but for the whole community. But we couldn't do a lot of things we do without your help.
Well, listen, right back at you, and anytime. I mean, this radio program, sure, we're basically into politics and world situations and also local events, and I'll help any way I can, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much, Donna. Thanks for your call.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day, my
I will. Thank you very much. Caller number 2, I'm going to indulge on your patience just for a little bit because I've got to get this in here. I'm running a little bit behind this morning, so what else is new, I know. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley with Nick and the whole crew. Didn't make it over there yesterday, obviously, but I'm going to have to reschedule with Nick Greenwell and all the great physical therapists over there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. If you're a aching and a painin', I know the place you should go, and that's Burley Physical Therapy and Rehab. They can help. They will help get you back to being you with all the exercises and, of course, the hydrotherapy pool. Stop in or give them a call at 678-1191. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And quickly, hello, Jake over at Rain for Rent. They are busy right now, man. The weather's taken a turn for the better. Thank you, finally. And I know they're swamped and they're helping all the farmers with their irrigation needs. That's right. Rain for Rent, and they are a Reinke Diamond dealer, and they've got the most dedicated sales and service staff ready to help you. All you have to do is give them a call or stop in. 438-5065. That number again, 438-5065, and that's Rain for Rent, located at 134 South 600 West of Paul. Jake and the whole crew ready to serve you at Rain for Rent. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, good morning, Zeb. I'm glad you're feeling okay. I know what you went through because I've had a few of those.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, I didn't know if I was walking on the ceiling or the floor. It didn't make much difference because I wasn't getting anywhere.
Blood pressure was always normal, and and I think it's stress and pressure that probably causes those.
There was a lot of comment about that, and then also during the course of the day, and I don't mean to bear my problems out in front of the public, but I don't drink as much water as I should. I just get going, and I very seldom ever stop for lunch, and I go from like 5 in the morning until the evening, and very seldom ever have a glass of water or anything. And all of a sudden, they said it might have caught up with me.
I think it has. In your business, it probably does.
Yeah. Anyhow, what can I do for you, my dear friend?
Well, I have a question for you this morning. Do you feel, like I feel, that the Democratic Party has turned into a version of the Red Brigade with this political assassination, attempted assassination of our president?
I cannot stand by and say anything good about the current Democratic Party. Now, this may come as a shock to you. You better sit down. My mother and father were Democrats back in the Roosevelt and leading into the Kennedy days, etc. And, the Democratic Party has changed so much. It's like a chameleon with different spots and colors. But this is ridiculous to go completely left and avoid the decency of serving their constituents the way they were employed to do and getting so far removed from the Constitution, I can't even call it another party. I think the Democratic Party is so fragile right now, it could fall into a million pieces by next week.
Another thing that disturbed me is that the fact that we had Mexican troops come over on our border and arm our troops.
That is a story that I'm going to be commenting on. If not today, I'm going to hit it tomorrow. But, I mean, Tony, where is the toughness? Where is the sovereignty of our nation? Where is the protection of our borders? Where is the John Wayne attitude of this is America, turn yourself around and get your butt out of Dodge City? What happened here should never have happened.
What is it going to take? Ex-GIs like myself, the millions of us, and concerned citizens to take to the streets and protect our property?
I can't answer that question because I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, over the weekend, I studied all these different news stories that were going on, and one in particular I'm going to talk about in just a moment. But the idiocy and the misguided information or lack of information by the American public is getting worse every day. I don't know what's going to happen in this country, but I'll tell you what, there needs to be, and I mean this when I say this, there needs to be a real come to the altar moment where people start realizing that Jesus is our Lord and Savior and get back to our religious base in this country because we're acting like total fools.
You're absolutely right, man. Unfortunately, a lot of people are dropping away from the churches, from what I understand.
Absolutely. And there again, and I'm not going to weaken for anybody. There again, that's the fault of the leadership of the various churches. I don't care what denomination it is. They're not doing their job in really going out and serving the public and their congregation and trying to keep the congregation as a congregation and understand what's going on in the world and how it relates to the Bible and God's Word. They're not doing their job. One pastor, Tony, called me in the last couple of weeks, almost now over a month, to be a part of my program. One, and that's disgusting.
Well, if they believe in God, why in the heck are they running scared?
I can't answer that question. I don't know. Tony, you're always appreciated. God bless you and Mary. Go give her a hug and say I said hello, please.
Stay healthy. We need you, boy.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Tony, very much.
Okay,
Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've got to get into a story here in just a minute that when I heard this, I just sat back and said, oh, my goodness, how bad can it get? We'll talk about it in just a minute. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union. Hello, Dr. Bill and the crew over near Hayburn. And Ark Animal Hospital says, it's springtime. Spay and neuter your cats and dogs. Please, you don't want the unwanted kitty cats and puppy dogs. And also, it's time to deworm your horses. And just call them for any of your animal and pet needs at Ark Animal Hospital. 750 21st Street in Hayburn. Number to call, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Real quick, also, I've got to get this in. Our dear friends, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Don't forget, call Ramsey Heating and Electric to schedule a tune-up for your whole home comfort system. Or if you're in the market for a new Lennox home comfort system, they're offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. Check it out today. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. And terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. When this happened the other day, I was so taken aback, I didn't know how to react to it at first. The Philadelphia Flyers hockey team and now the New York Yankees baseball team have decided that they are going to stop the singing renditions of God Bless America by the late, great Kate Smith. I, every day on my program, open my show with God Bless America, sung by this wonderful voice that belonged to this lady, Kate Smith. There is a movement in our nation right now to abolish and get rid of her music and her singing. Why? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. 88 years ago, remember that, 88 years ago, she sang a popular song that was called, and I'm going to give you the title, I don't hedge on this program, That's Why Darkies Were Born. It was originally written for a Broadway review. And then it was also in a Marx Brothers film. And some of the lyrics were all of a sudden found and deemed to be very offensive 88 years later. And the song was considered a satire of racism in its time. Well, now various activists are going back through the archives and they're saying, well, you can't play Kate Smith. You can't play her version of God Bless America. Let me tell you something, folks, and I mean this. I lease and pay heavily for the time on this radio program. It's mine. And I will not be dictated to by anyone to take Kate Smith off my program. If you have an inkling that I should not play Kate Smith and God Bless America, you're going to be a long time sitting in the basement twiddling your thumbs because I'm not about to take her off my program for anyone or any group. Cowardice has prevailed itself on the American scene. And we run and hide like little mice when somebody complains, I don't like that, you stop it, you take it off. Well, I can tell those people, if they're within the sound of my voice, anywhere close to my voice, you go ahead and you gripe and complain and you sit back and you whine, anything you want to do, but I'm not going to change what I put on my program. I find what the Philadelphia Flyers and what the New York Yankees and others are doing to abolish a great voice, one of the greatest voices of all American time and music, is absolutely abhorrent, and I will not take it off. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go.
Good morning. I've got a question. When did a mountain or a prairie or foam become a race?
Are you referring to the words in the song?
Exactly.
Well, it's not a race, but see, what they did, what they, being these kooks on the left, they looked at some of the songs that she had been asked to sing and record. And as I stated, the one song that she sang 88 years ago, she recorded it in 1931, was a song called That's Why Darkies Were Born. It was made for a Broadway play. And this group of people, headed up by civil rights activist Paul Robeson, have said, that's terrible, that's way in the past, but we can't have her. And they're taking down her statues, and they're trying to obliterate her music. And my dear lady, it ain't going to happen on this program.
No, and it better not. And I'm glad that whoever was manning the board for you yesterday played the entire song, clear to the last drum beat.
Well, that would be Wheels. And Wheels and I had a talk about this. And here's the deal. If anybody out there in the audience wants to complain about my playing Kate Smith, they come to me. They don't go to Wheels. And anybody that demands that he stop playing the Kate Smith, he's been instructed to say, we respect your opinion, have a good day, and hang up the phone. On this program, I do as I wish for you, the audience. Kate Smith will remain a part of my program.
You know, and if rappers today can get away with the words,
yes,
you want to use it, the language that they use, then Kate Smith can sing anything she wants.
Kate Smith, and I've said this long before any controversy, Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America is absolutely the best I've ever heard. I remember a couple of years ago, a guy called and complained after the program, and he said, well, you're so outdated, and she was so long ago. And I said, no, a good voice, a great voice, and a great rendition of a song that should be held proud by all Americans is one that never changes or becomes outdated, and that's how I feel about Kate Smith.
Exactly. I guess call me old-fashioned, but Hank Snow is my favorite singer, and I was not even born when he started his career.
Well, and I respect that. But for someone to come out with a blanket statement and say, well, we've got to get rid of this, it's racism, and we're going to lead the charge to call all the radio stations and stop any playment, we're going to take down any sculpts of Kate Smith, like out in front of the Philadelphia Flyers, etc., that's fine. You go ahead and do it, but don't push your evil thoughts on me, because I'm not going to bend for you. And this is something I really adhere to, my dear lady. When somebody demands that I stop something, they'd better step out of the way, because I'm not going to step around them, but I will step over them.
Well, and she didn't write those words. So aren't we protesting the person that wrote them?
Yeah, but just think about this. Think back 88 years ago. I know you're not that old, and neither am I. It was another time. It was another venue. It was another era. And what was acceptable then is not acceptable now, according to certain people. You can't go back and erase history and punish history. You can't do it.
Then we need to start a protest against anybody who disparages President Trump in any way and take them off the air. I'm talking, well, one of them just died, the rappers and whatnot. Any of these people that disparage, then we need to start calling them something. I don't know. We'll have to make up a word.
Well, believe me, there's a lot of words out there.
How they like it.
Thank you. Thank you for your call. You're always welcome. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless.
All righty. Caller number 2, I'll be right there, I promise. I got to tell everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh, they do a wonderful job for you. Yep, they've got 3 locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Napa location. And when it comes to a digging and a lifting and a pushing and the carrying. They've got all the equipment for you. You better believe it. They've got all the bobcats, all the different size bobcats, and you don't want to pass this up. Oh, you say, I don't know how to run one? Don't worry. They've got a big sandbox right out behind. They'll help you. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Napa location serving you. Really, really good people. Hold on a second, caller. I'll be right there. Man, I tell you, I get to going and rambling, and I don't pay attention to my old clock up on the wall. It'd be a first if I ever did. Want to remind you about our friends over at Patterson's. They are such nice people at 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena. And, for all your electronic needs, I'm telling you, they've got it all. Home theater systems, Kenwood Pioneer, video surveillance cameras to make sure you're safe on your property. And along with all the car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems, TVs, whoa, the list goes on and on and on. Great service, and believe me, they're open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6, and they're waiting to see you at 421 East Main in Burley. Patterson's, you stop in and see them today. Caller, you've been extremely patient. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
It was just 1 week ago yesterday that I came down with the same thing you had, and that's the worst time in my life that I couldn't know where I was at. The world was just spinning around. I couldn't stand up, and my heart was racing.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I'm only, 6 or 7 or 8 blocks from the hospital, so they took me to the emergency room, and of course they like to horse around.
Well,
try to find out what's wrong with you.
They've got certain protocol. They've got certain protocol that they have to adhere to and administer, and I absolutely respect and appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I'll guarantee you that that dizziness and that vertigo, like I said earlier, facetiously, I didn't know if I was standing on the ceiling or standing on the floor. I had no clue.
Right, and I've had reoccurrences since then. So you might have something else to look forward to.
Oh, goody. I'll treasure and savor those moments. I got another call, but listen, you and Nancy, I want to say this, and all the others. I can't call everybody by name because I might forget somebody and offend somebody, but thank you for all your very kind remarks. I appreciate it, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, one other note there. Gina played Kate Smith to its entirety yesterday, and I thought that was quite interesting.
Absolutely, and that's the way it's going to remain on this program. I will not change, I will not weaken, and I will not have anyone demand something that I stop. Thank you very much, Keith. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget again, I want to mention to you about Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if you're in the market for a new Lennox home comfort system, get a hold of Ramsey Heating today. They're offering with Lennox possibly up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system, or you can ask about their low monthly payment financing options. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459, and terms and conditions apply. See the dealer for details. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Seb. You know what? They have my permission to change that when the scientists of the world decide there's no global warming, and we go back to the old philosophy that the world is flat on the back of 4 turtles moving around the sun.
Mm-hmm. Jerry, there's just quite a few things that are my standards, and I won't weaken on it. And for someone...
I told you when I would.
No, I told you, but just hear me out for a second. When somebody makes a demand that they call up after the program and they have not the intestinal fortitude to call on the air and arbitrate, but they call afterwards on my time and may make a demand, well, I demand that you stop that. Or I demand that offends me and I don't want you to do that anymore. They go in one ear and out the other, and I'm not about to take a small minority of calls and pay any attention to them whatsoever.
I'd say the only time I would do it is if it went in one ear and back out the same ear, never got to the brain.
Jerry, you're another one I want to say thank you to for your kind thoughts. You're a dear friend. Thank you for calling in like you do, and keep it up, my friend. Thank you so much.
Okay, and may the Lord bless you and all of your audience.
Well, thank you.
Even those that are nuts out there.
Yeah. Thank you, Jerry. Oh, good man right there.
Lord bless.
Thank you. You know, it's just amazing to me. Think about it. 88 years ago. 88 years ago, Kate Smith recorded the song that so far has offended people all of a sudden, today. You know, folks, I got to have your input on this, but 88 years ago, a different time, different stature of what our country was and what we reacted to, what we accepted, what we didn't accept. 88 years ago, she recorded this song, and it was used in a Broadway play. And all of a sudden, these civil rights activists, we've got to take down the statues of Kate Smith. Why, she's evil. Why, all of a sudden, 88 years later, we found out what an evil person she was for promoting racism and singing this song. We don't care about the beauty of her voice with God Bless America. Oh, no, we've got to get rid of her. We've got to purge history. And the Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Yankees, which I've never liked anyway, they want to just absolutely purge her from being a part of their games. This is absolutely so nonsensical. I can't imagine adults acting like this. What happened 88 years ago is completely different than what's going on today. But the beauty of music, with a voice that I still don't think anybody can equal today, Kate Smith and her rendition of God Bless America is absolutely iconic. Iconic. And I will not change it or stop it. So don't even attempt to make the overture to me, Wheels, or anyone. Because it's going to stay there every morning. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Whoop, there goes the mic, almost. Time for the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and believe me, the very best of your hearing health is very important to them. When you have a diminishment of hearing, I mean, it could be any number of things. Caller, I'll be right there, stand by. It could be because of your health with maybe diabetes or heart conditions or being overweight, obesity. I mean, wow, you better have it checked by the professionals. And the professionals are right there at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call, 312-0957. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another beautiful day here in the valley. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We're expecting mostly sunny skies for today. A little bit of a breeze out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. Mostly sunny skies, high of 70. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 47. Tomorrow, another nice one. Mostly sunny skies, high of 71, expecting an overnight low of 44. Mid-70s under mostly sunny skies for Thursday. As we hit Friday, maybe Saturday, slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, but let's focus on the positives. Mostly sunny and 70 today. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
And thank you to a very nice lady, Gina, for all of her help yesterday, along with Wheels. I appreciate it. Weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And as I said, the number, call for a hearing screening today, very important, 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your patience.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think that if we start taking out these beautiful, I call them hymns, that are exonerating our wonderful country, we are doomed. Because, music can lift you out of the gutter. And when you hear those precious patriotic sounds, I'm telling you, my heart just pounds. And, I've had a member of my family in every war that has been fought here in the U.S., and they all came home proud to have served our country. How about some of the other people out there? Why don't they sign up?
Yeah.
And see what it costs?
Let me just say something to you, Chris. Where does it stop? Okay, they're going to start picking on, let's say now, Kate Smith. Then we have already heard rumors and rumblings by these idiots on the left, and that's what they are. That's what they are. That they want to stop certain songs, and there was an album recorded by, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, John Wayne, and he did the speaking over many, many songs on an album called America, Why I Love Her. And
I got that album.
let me tell you something. There's some songs on there that just make the hair on the back of my neck stand up in pride for being an American. But there's already been criticism. Well, John Wayne, he was a gun rights advocate. Well, John Wayne, he was this and he was that. We got to stop that. And now Kate Smith. I mean, I'm drawing a line in the sand that nobody is going to tell me on my program what I can and I can't play or who I can revere. I think the world of Kate Smith, and it's going to stay that way.
Isn't that sad? Because doing things like this and having our young people be so angry where they've never picked up a gun to go out and protect their country, they have not grown up out of their diaper much. And they already are being influenced by people who hate this country. Well, my dad said we need to go from town to town. And my dad served in the Second World War, and it wasn't fun. Mm-hmm. And I've had relatives in every war that we've had in the United States. But anyway, my dad says, okay, if you can't respect the flag and the national anthem and the meaning of this country, pack your bags.
Absolutely.
Go somewhere else and tell me where you can go that you're going to have a better deal.
There you go. And do not let the door hit you in the posterior on the way out. I agree with you. Chris, thank you so much for your kind remarks as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I had, in regards to this Kate Smith story, a 2-page email. 2 pages. That was extremely well written by a lady that lives not too far away from me. I did not ask her permission to share this, so I'm just going to refer to her anonymously. But it was an absolutely excellent email, and I hope this lady's listening this morning, because she was absolutely incensed, like I am, that there would be an attack on an icon, an American icon like Kate Smith, and then have Kate Smith being drugged through the mire of racism because of civil rights activity of today. And I want to thank that lady, because I'm holding it right here in my hand, as a matter of fact, this 2-page email. Again, very well written, and God bless you for your thoughts and how you put that together. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I guess what I'm coming to in this story is cowards run and hide. Cowards run because they can't explain history. Cowards try to diminish history and whitewash it if it offends them. Cowards. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Go ahead.
Hi, Zeph. This is Eric Lee. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
I'm just real confused. I'm listening to your show, and what I don't understand is why they would take down Kate Smith when we can go back later in time and watch what they did to Jackie Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Each and every baseball team did this to him, and yet they pick on a gal that's singing God Bless America. I don't understand.
Well, not only, I think your point's very well taken about Jackie Robinson and others that basically were leading civil rights movements at their time in their era. But Kate Smith sang a song back in 1931 that was used for a Broadway play, and the bottom line is that thought and those lyrics at that time were acceptable. How do you come out 88 years later and damn her and damn and condemn her song and put her out of existence and her sculpt out of existence? How do you do that?
I have no idea. I mean, the world has changed, times have changed, the way we think has changed, and to take an American icon and do that to her, it just opens the door to so many people that have helped build this country with those same attitudes back when it was acceptable, and make it to where it's wrong now. I just don't understand.
I don't either, but I guarantee you on this program it's not going to happen. Sir, I appreciate your call and your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Caller number 2, I'll take your call before I do my next commercial. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead and do your next commercial.
No, I'll take your call.
All righty. Well, if you remember back in history, what was the Nazis doing?
Yep.
To history and literature and statues that they did not agree with.
A whitewashing, a burning, an absolute revision of history, and a diminishment and a burying of history.
Exactly. Now, what are the Democrats and the liberals doing?
Bingo.
So, I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I can kind of put one and one together and come up with what they're wanting to do.
You know what I would do? Honestly, and I mean this, Doug, I've thought a lot about it because I guess I'm some sort of a rabble-rouser. If I were attending let's say a New York Yankees baseball game today, I would go and try to initiate and start God Bless America that they were singing, using the singing voice of Kate Smith during the 7th inning stretch. I would start it in the audience, and I would absolutely, pardon the expression, spit in the face of the Yankees organization and management because of what they've done.
Exactly. Which would be a fantastic stand-up to these people if the 7th inning stretch, the audience, the crowd, started singing that song.
Yep.
And was to drown out whatever they wanted to play on the speakers. That would be a stand-up, spit in your eye, leave history alone, and let us learn from it.
I will maintain, and I dare somebody to prove me wrong or try to prove me wrong, that Kate Smith and her iconic voice, the power, and the beauty, and the way that she presented the lyrics of any song she sang. Now, you go ahead and laugh at me out there, audience. Think of your so-called singers of today. But Kate Smith was an icon she's like on the Mount Rushmore of music, and I still maintain she had one of the best ever female voices in the history of music.
Exactly. I agree with you 100% there. And it's a sad day when we, the people of this United States, will allow a minority of the people of this United States tell us what we can see, what we can hear, and what we can read, and what we can listen to.
You know, you just hit the nail on the head, and I got to run. But my wife and I were talking about this last night, and I'm itching for the opportunity to have some crackpot tell me that I've got to take it off my program, because woe betide them. My German temper may extend itself right through the phone line. So that's the way it is, Doug. God bless you for your call. Go ahead and give us our senior salute real quick.
All righty, everybody. Let's take care of our senior centers. I don't care which one it is.
anywhere in the Magic Valley or in the U.S. if you're listening to us across the U.S.
I appreciate it.
Do what we can for our senior centers. Let's support them. God bless.
Thank you, Doug. Hey, don't forget your major sponsor of this program is your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with a big spring tire sale. You can save a lot of money and have the tires on your car, your pickup, your SUV, horse trailer, boat trailer, whatever, the best that they have. I'm telling you, and save money in the big spring tire sale. Stop in and see them today. Wonderful, wonderful folks. And also the best in brake service and front end alignment. After you've hit all those potholes during the winter, be sure and do that, please. Shocks and struts, the batteries, everything along with the best in service. The best in service from Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Yep, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to take a break. I want to urge you to be listening. This is really important note. At 9:30 this morning, we're going to have, and I believe we're the only radio station in the state that has ever had him on the air, I believe, Victor Davis Hanson. You've seen him on all the network TV shows. He's going to be on our program at 9:30. I've got my fingers crossed that he won't forget. 9:30 this morning, Victor Davis Hanson. Don't miss it. Talk to you in 7. Good morning, and welcome back to hour number 2, Zev at the Ranch on a Tuesday, April 23rd. Thank you for tuning in. And, of course, our program, Zev at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale going on. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Wow, Wheels, old buddy, old pal, how about a good word for Western Waste Services?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
I need to get a dumpster, a big one. They've got dumpsters in various sizes. I'm really into this spring cleaning thing. I'm going to start on this office, well, in the next day or so. But anyway, you can call, have a dumpster dropped off at your location, fill it up, call them back at Western Waste Services. They'll come and get it. They are always at your disposal. The number to call, 734-6969. I urge you to do so. They are the best at what they do, helping you, Western Waste Services. 734-6969. Want to also reiterate what we've been saying quite a bit already. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric to schedule a tune-up for your whole home comfort system, or check out a brand new Lennox home comfort system, and they're offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. And don't forget, call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459, and terms and conditions apply. See the dealer for details. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Also, really some special people that are committed to serving you and your family in a time of need. And that's, of course, when there's the passing of a loved one. They are there to serve you, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. I'm talking about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff, always taking care of you and providing the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. Call them today at 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Let us go to the phone line right now, and with us on the phone is a lovely lady. She's a member of the Minnetonka Chamber Board, and let's get her on the air. Amy Christopherson, how are you?
Good morning, Zeb, to you and all of your listeners. It's a beautiful spring day.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and Mr. Rogers is taking his sweater off and putting on his tennis shoes, and he's going to work in the garden, and he's going to stay in that garden tomorrow because all the wives, all the ladies are going to be going to the Women's Expo at the great big Burley Best Western Inn and Convention Center, right?
We absolutely hope so. It is an annual event that the Chamber has sponsored for years, and we've got such a great lineup of speakers and sponsors. We have 45 vendors there throughout the day, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about that event and answer any questions you have and explain some of our goals and especially the theme of hidden gems.
Okay, well, you kind of touched on it, Amy. Let's start, first of all, with the theme, hidden gems. What do you mean, hidden gems?
Well, our theme has I think, a really interesting beginning. Every year we try to consider what women need throughout our communities, and we especially choose this day each year to celebrate Administrative Assistance Day, which has obviously evolved over the years. So many of us work hard both at home and in businesses. We own businesses, we run companies, and we support so much of our local economy. And we live in a place full of hidden treasures, whether they be people, stories, or locations, and businesses, in fact. And so a few months ago, I was up visiting the Mountain Mamas Art Festival in Stanley, and I happened to stop at a booth, and I noticed this artwork of a beautiful image of the state of Idaho filled with gems, filled with our crystals. And I picked up a note card, and I sent it to my mom and dad in Texas after I got home. And when we had our first planning meeting in January-ish as a committee for the expo, another board member and a planning committee member, Melissa Aston from McCain, said, I've been really thinking that we need to focus on hidden gems as our theme. And I thought, I know the artwork that we can use. And I contacted the artist, who is actually going to be with us that day, Jenny Rich out of McCall, and I asked her if we could use her image for all of our marketing and to really express this idea. And she was thrilled at the opportunity, and she welcomed the invitation to come and be with us that day. And I love the idea that we're using original artwork from an Idaho artist who really captured the beauty of our state, but also the uniqueness and the variety of our state. We're excited for that hidden gems idea.
Absolutely. Amy, let me ask you this question. There are ladies probably in the audience listening right now. They may be housewives. They may be working. They may be doing any number of things right now. And they're going, gee, it's probably too late to go to that event tomorrow. Is it?
It is not too late, but I will tell you that not starting today, but if individuals will purchase tickets by noon today, so 12 noon today, in just like a few hours, they will be entered to win a prize from the Dragonfly Day Spa, and it's a full day's package, a spa package. And so we prefer to get as many tickets pre-sold so that we can plan effectively for lunch and for space. We are grateful for our lunch sponsor from Burley Best Western. We've got a great meal planned for midday. And so the more individuals that get their tickets by noon today, it's going to benefit them because they'll be entered in to win this really great prize. And then we will be more prepared for them in the morning. But we will be selling tickets at the door. The event begins at 9 a.m. and then it goes through 4 p.m. We have speakers that begin at 10 and go through 3 p.m. And in just a moment, I will tell you about those amazing speakers, both local and other Idaho stories that we brought in for everyone to hear their messages that are inspirational.
Okay, now, Amy, the one thing I want to reiterate is, and we've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks on my program, what's the main theme, if you will, that you want women to understand and appreciate if they attend this Women's Expo? What's the number one thing you want them to take away?
That more than places and businesses, even though we have amazing sponsors, this is an opportunity for women to consider what hidden talents and resources they have themselves. And those are the stories that are going to be told throughout the speaker session. We've chosen women with a variety of backgrounds and a variety of stories that share how they have discovered something new or different about themselves and how they're sharing that and supporting each other and other women and other family members with their strength and with their uniqueness. I think we all have something important to offer our families and our communities. And but we also all have different areas that we're confident in, whether it be finances or health and wellness or exploration or just confidence and service. These are the stories that are going to be told. And so that's why we promote it as an all-day event, because we want our participants to arrive at 9, have a chance to visit with all of the vendors. And we've got about 45 vendors that are going to be there all day. But also, starting at 10 a.m., they have an opportunity to meet these women, to hear stories that will hopefully inspire them to go out and find what hidden talents and resources they can access to benefit their families and their community.
I've got a feeling, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, that a whole bunch of employers tomorrow are going to really appreciate the value and the worth of their administrative assistants, because if they go to this Women's Expo, there's a bunch of guys out there that are going to go, oh, please come back soon.
Yes, that's even circled around the boardroom with our board of directors. When we invited and encouraged everyone in the room to make sure the women in their lives, whether they be in their family influence or in their work environment, and make sure they understand not that they're just as valuable as any other team member, but they deserve a chance to stay local but have a great event that's specifically for them. Of course, we have men attend, and we have great messages that are universal. But this is an opportunity for women to network throughout our community. We're grateful for ICCU being our primary event sponsor, and they are exceptionally dedicated to our community. We've got IHC, we've got Tailored Living, and Right Physical Therapy as well. And so these are all employers that have dedicated their not just their efforts to get staff there, but they've also dedicated funds to make sure that this experience can be as positive as possible.
Amy, one thing,
a lot of employer support.
One thing on the program, and you may know it, I know it, but there are others in the audience that don't know the abbreviations for your sponsors. I'd prefer that you give the full name so they really get the full credit.
Oh, thank you so much. So Idaho Central Credit Union is our event sponsor, and then we've got Dot Foods, which I think stands for DOT. Intermountain Healthcare, IHC, is a gold sponsor, as well as Tailored Living and Right Physical Therapy.
Okay. Well, doggone if it doesn't.
It does. Okay. You think DOT stands for something else? Now I'm thinking transportation. Anyway, but they have all been really, really supportive and excited to be involved.
Now, what about the vendors? I mean, what kinds of businesses and booths are going to be represented there, and for what purpose?
The vendors really, I think, are a great representative of our community in terms of the larger businesses, like Intermountain Healthcare. We have, of course, all of our sponsors will be there. We have medical clinics like Riverview Urgent Care. We have Impact Athletic. We've got title companies, and Costco is even going to be a vendor there. We have Idaho Water Sports, who is always such a wonderful support to the chamber. Orthodontics, CSI, of course, that's my employer, College of Southern Idaho. We will be there promoting active aging programs, community education, recruiting students, because there is no time that you're too old to go to college, and I can tell you why and what for. So we will be promoting all of the amazing opportunities that exist in the community for all forms of education. So we really have a range of art and health, vendors that are small business and single employee type of situations, and then the larger businesses as well, PMT, CPAs. All of them will be there to make sure their message is getting through to the men and women, especially the women in this case, that are making decisions for their families and for their businesses, and really creating stronger connections.
You know, Amy, to be very blunt and honest, the Women's Expo kind of took a hiatus from not being for a couple of years, and now it's back with a vengeance. It sounds to me like you really got things organized.
We actually took a chance last year to do what we called the Idaho Living Expo.
Mm-hmm.
So we still had speakers, we still had vendors, and at least from my perspective as a vendor with College of Southern Idaho, I loved the event last year. It was more family-driven. It was on a Saturday. We had amazing attendance, but it was a different audience, and it didn't necessarily meet the needs of working women who have a chance to do something during their workday, get them a little bit away from their desks, away from their spaces. And so we returned to the traditional expo, but it's been a consistent program each year. We just, you know, I've got a science brain sometimes, and I like to experiment a little bit, and we tried something new, and it was really, really cool. But it did go away from the traditional convention center experience. And so we're really thrilled that Burley Best Western, we returned to that space, and we've got plenty of room to eat a delicious meal, to meet with the speakers in a space that is dedicated to their message, and then to interact with so many vendors. So it's an ideal location for the purpose of connecting with women in all stages and circumstances, so that we can be reminded of how valuable we are.
Absolutely.
We are hidden gems.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better. You know, I've got to say this, and she's not here in my studio holding a gun to my head. She may be at other times. But my wife and my business are intertwined. I would not have had the success in my business had it not been for my lovely wife. And day by day, I thank God for her help and assistance. And this is just a great deal tomorrow to have employers show their appreciation to all the people that work for them, and they should all be saying gladly, go to this Hidden Gems Women's Expo.
Thank you for that endorsement. We really feel like this is a valuable day. The tickets are only $20, which includes their lunch. There's giveaways and prizes at almost every vendor. We've got prizes that are larger that will be selected, from the participants themselves. So it's just a meaningful day. I am like any other working woman, working mom, where it has to be a really good meeting to meet no meeting at all, right? Am I right? So for me to support and make sure that all of us here at the Minnecaja Center at CSI, we're all taking rotations to be there and to experience the day. It's got to be meaningful. It's a busy time for us at the college. We are registering new students. We've got an orientation, in fact, happening right this very minute with new students. So it's busy for all in our community. So it has to be a productive, meaningful, purposeful day, or I would have a hard time making that effort. And not just because I'm a board member or I've been helping to plan this event with some really, really amazing women. The planning committee has been so in tune with what the community needs, and I learn from them every time we meet. But I hope that we can look at local opportunities that we don't have to get away, even to Twin or to Boise or to a larger space, to have something meaningful that we can take back to our homes, take back to our businesses, and stretch ourselves and connect with other people. That can happen locally, and it does happen locally. And the Chamber of Commerce works really hard to make sure these opportunities are accessible and affordable for anyone, regardless of the size of their company.
You know, I got to tell you something, Amy, your voice sounds so familiar. Had you ever been on my program before?
You were, in fact, you were one of my very first interviews when I was hired as the director here at the Minnecaja Center.
Oh.
I was told literally within the first week, oh, by the way, we've got you on Zed Bell Thursday morning. And I thought, well, what do I say? I don't know what I don't know yet. And you were very, very generous, and we had a great conversation about the state of the college and the state of higher education, not only in our region and our state, but really the opportunities that exist here in our community. And I have been an advocate for these students for more than 10 years in my role here at the Minnecaja Center, and I certainly love to share our message. So we've probably had some conversations over the years.
You know, I got to tell you something. I said
talk about our students, but today it's about the expo.
Absolutely. I got to tell you that I asked the other day, I said I'd sure like to get somebody on for the Women's Expo. They could not have chosen anyone any better. You are very articulate. Your enthusiasm shows for this event. And why don't you right now just quickly give us a quick synopsis one more time of everything that's going to take place tomorrow?
Okay, I'm going to start at the top. This is the Minnecaja Chamber of Commerce's Women's Expo. It's an annual event. It is on tomorrow. Now we're at tomorrow, April 24th. It begins at 9 a.m. It goes through 4 p.m. The tickets are $20, and that includes lunch. There are giveaways and prizes all day long. If you get your tickets by today at noon, you will be entered to win a day spa, full-day package at Dragonfly. Our keynote speaker, sponsored by Dot Foods, is actually Jessie Roberts, the founder of Cheekies, who is from New Plymouth, Idaho, and her story is inspirational and gritty and tough and really shows the value of small-town community values, and so she will be speaking at noon. We have other speakers, including Juanita Jones from the National Park Service. She is retiring after 25 years with the NPS. She's been at City of Rocks for the last 25 years. We've got Angela Hickman from ICCU, the credit union. We have Kylie Orton, who is speaking on health advocacy. Lynn Crane is a portrait photographer who's going to speak to us about our confidence. And Sonia Haynes from the United Way, who will round out our day and leave us laughing and inspired. She's our 3 p.m. speaker. We have, it's at the Burley Best Western, and the doors open at 9 a.m. There will be tickets sold at the door, but we prefer that everyone make the call now. Call now. After you listen, of course, to Zeb Bell's second hour. Make the call and get some tickets and support your family members and your peers in your businesses. Make sure they attend, because they will walk away feeling as though they have value, they have used their time wisely.
Wow. I mean, yes. You feel like, you made me feel like Moses parting the Red Sea. Everybody be there. That was amazing, Amy. Thank you.
Get there, because it's local, it's affordable, it's accessible. The speakers, even just to meet Jenny Rich, I'm so excited to meet her, because I love the story that she created an image that we were able to tie into something that was meaningful, and I think that's every artist's dream, right? Is to speak to an audience and to connect with the people that enjoy a specific image or an idea.
Absolutely.
So I love the range. I love the range that we are bringing because of our amazing sponsors and support from vendors. It's just a really great local event that we are bringing speakers that I challenge you. They are speaking at the big things. This Backroads boss lady, Jessie Roberts, she is very much in demand as a speaker now, because her story is small town but also inspirational. Mm-hmm. She has a global business now, and we have businesses like that throughout Minnecaja that are just amazing. What these women are doing after a lot of hard work. It's not about who do you know and what luck did you have. It's how hard do you want to work?
Absolutely.
How bad do you want this?
Absolutely. I've got to run. I'm out of time, but I want to tell a great big thank you to Amy Christopherson, and she's a member of the Minnecaja Chamber of Commerce Board. Hidden Gems tomorrow, the Women's Expo at the Burley Best Western Inn and Convention Center starting at 9 a.m. Amy, God bless. Come back soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb.
All righty.
Have a blessed week yourself.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
What a nice lady, and appreciate her being on the program this morning. Thank you very much. We're just moments away from our next guest on the program this morning, but that's going to give me just a little bit of time to remind everybody about next Monday at 10:30. Don't forget Green Thumbs, Dirty Knees, and Vicky's Country Garden at 10:30 on Monday. We missed the program yesterday because I was a little under the weather, and so we'll look forward to next Monday with all the gardening tips from Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden over in Paul. Want to remind you, too, about a great big spring clearance event. Oh, limited quantities on these items. Once they're gone, they're gone. And believe me, I'm talking about a kind of a warehouse clearance on various mattresses. Listen to this. I mean, like certain Queen mattresses that were $14.99, just $5.49. Whoa! Simmons Beauty Sleep mattresses. Queen was $9.99, now just $3.99. All of these savings, including flooring, closeouts, everything. You get into Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Where are they located? 459 Overland in Burley. And Jeff and the whole crew there to serve you with the beautification of your home. Stop in today. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more, serving you. One quick note before we go to our next guest. The weather forecast sounds like it's going to be a lot better than it has been, and it's time to get outside and enjoy all the beauty and great nature out in southern Idaho. Well, get on a four-wheeler, crank it up, boom, boom, and head for the hills. I'll guarantee you the place to go if you don't have a four-wheeler is Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. My goodness, they're open Monday through Fridays 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4, and that showroom, I still wonder how they got everything in there. So stop over and see them today at Let's Ride. All the four-wheelers, all the side-by-sides, all the accessories, and to keep you running, the best doggone service department around. Stop in and see them today. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it is true. This is where the fun is sold. You know, my next guest, I've never visited with this man before. I've never had the honor of having him on my program before, but he's one of my heroes. And I watched him on many, many TV segments with his cool hand Luke demeanor in answering questions about what's going on in politics in the world today. And I rank him right up there with my heroes, John Wayne, Hank Aaron, etc. And we say good morning to the author of the book, The Case for Trump, Victor Davis Hanson. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's extremely my pleasure because on television, when I see you on various segments, i.e. on the Fox News channel, you have got to be the most cool, laid-back individual in relating very specific knowledge, and I have a lot of respect for that, especially in today's times when there isn't a lot of specific, cool knowledge on various subjects. I'm going to start with, first of all, the book, The Case for Trump. What's the book about? Why did you write it?
I wrote it because I thought that people had unduly written off the so-called deplorables or redeemables sense of judgment. I tried to show in the book that they were right. In 2016, there really wasn't a choice that was viable other than Trump. And then the first part of the book explains how he got elected and how he tweaked the traditional Republican agenda, you know, low taxes, strong defense, good judges, by making a populist appeal to reindustrializing or bringing back fair trade that would result in more jobs in the Middle West that it wasn't written off, closing the border, restoring sovereignty, challenging China, and especially the myth that China was foreordained to be the world's hegemon in 10 or 12 years, and then reminding us if you go overseas and get into an optional military engagement, you better be able to translate a tactical victory on the ground to a strategic long-term advantage. If you can't do that, you shouldn't do it. So those 4 or 5 tweaks really were aimed at states, you know, like Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania, Iowa, Ohio, that really the Republicans had written off, without which you couldn't win the Electoral College. And then the other 2 parts of the book were, what did he actually do when he was president? He didn't govern as a liberal as the never-Trump conservative said he would, and he wasn't incompetent as the left said he was. We've had, you know, record economic achievement, pretty good foreign policy. And finally, why do people hate him so much? Why do we hear the series of attempts, the Emoluments Clause, 25th Amendment, the Logan Act, the Mueller investigation, to remove him before the election? What is it about him that drives the left so crazy?
When you say all of this in this book, and it's a must-read, I've got to go get a copy, and I'm intending to, as a matter of fact, tomorrow. When you wrote this book, did you have any idea or any looking into the future that we would be in the shape we are in today? The Democrats won't accept the Mueller report. The Democrats absolutely hate Trump. They will do anything to get this man thrown out of office. They absolutely have destroyed, I think, the first 2 years of his presidency, and they want to continue on until 2020. Did you have any forethought or looking into the future that it would be this bad?
Yeah, I did. I wrote the book in August of last year, and then I did an epilogue the day after the election. And in it, I said, throughout that Mueller would find no collusion whatsoever. And I think I was right about that. And then I also suggested that the left hadn't learned anything from the 2016 election. They still read their own polls. They still listened to their own echo chamber within their own echo chamber, and that they never understood why Trump got elected. And the effect, and this is, I think, important, the effect they have on most people being half of America, or maybe a little more than half, but when they get into these psychodramas, as I said, about the voting machines, warping the Electoral College, the Logan Act, trying to remove an elected president, people don't like that. They don't like the progressive agenda of the new Green Deal or infanticide or reparations or a wealth tax or 90% tax rate or forgiving $1.5 trillion in student debt. And yet they continue to persist. And I suggested that if they continue to do that, this was 2 years before the election when it went to print, that they would probably face a McGovern-like fate in 2020. I think that's probably right, unless somebody, takes them aside and say, you better drop impeachment, you better get somebody like Joe Biden, just clean up his act, and maybe we can run in those swing states as a populist, middle-class guy. But so far, they haven't been willing to do that.
Do you see anyone, and I don't mean to put you on the spot for picking or discarding a candidate, but on the Democratic Party, did you see anyone with any values of running for president that would better serve the American public, better serve our economy, and better serve our world stature, or is it all a hate Trump campaign?
I don't see any, but it's a mixture of two things. It's a hate Trump campaign, but if you pull off that scab, the wound below it is festering. I mean, it's an agenda that we haven't seen really in a long time. I don't think you and I or any of your listeners ever thought a socialist would be leading the polls like Bernie Sanders. He was always written off as a weird senator from Vermont that was kind of a crackpot who had spent his honeymoon in the Soviet Union. And I don't think any of us ever imagined that you could kill a baby after it left the birth canal without legal repercussion, at least, or that we really, 160 years after slavery, we're going to have reparations where some working guy that was a welder in Bakersfield would be paying more taxes so Jay-Z and Oprah would get some money from ancestors they'd never met, and that 75% of the country wasn't here when the Civil War took place, had no idea about it. They're immigrants themselves, and the other half, or 2/3, were in the North where there wasn't slavery. So, and yet that's a legitimate issue. And I don't think anybody believes who pays almost 50% of their income taxes and state, local taxes that we need a 70% rate or a wealth tax on money that's already taxed. So I guess what I'm getting at is that's a menu of issues that I don't think any one of them polls 51%. And if we were to elect somebody with a Congress to push through that agenda, I think it would wreck the economy pretty shortly, and we'd have outright attacks on the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, and we would see an open border. We would probably see negative economic growth, and then I don't know how you'd pay for $1.5 trillion of student debt relief or Medicare for everybody. It could be up to $10 trillion. I guess you just print more money, but this party is really being ideologically led or spiritually led by a 29-year-old ex-bartender, Ocasio-Cortez. That's what it is. I mean, I like people who work in bars, but I'm not ready at 29, maybe at 50, but I wouldn't turn the country over to their ideas at 29.
Mr. Hansen, I'm an old man, and I've been around the horn once or twice, and never in my life did I anticipate that I would see such a acceptance, if you will, of socialism in America. And I go back and wonder what happened in our school systems with our Constitution, our Pledge of Allegiance, our being so honored to be a part of America. What happened in our education system that today socialism might have a chance to take over?
I think two things. I wrote a book 20 years ago with a funny title called "Who Killed Homer?" It was about the death of classical education, and as I co-authored it, I said that if we persisted in this race, class, gender, identity, grievance, victimization politics, that it was going to create a generation of kids that were arrogant because they felt that they could be, deductive advocates for points of view when they left college, and they were going to be ignorant, and they would have no skills, and they would have a lot of debt, and they would have very little job opportunities. That's pretty much what happened. We've got a whole generation of hipster kids in the cities that are very angry. They don't buy homes. They don't get married. They don't have children, if at all, until their late 30s. And they're not very well informed, but they have this zeal from their professors that they have to get rid of the internal combustion engine, or they have to have reparations. And then the other thing is, we haven't assimilated or intermarried or integrated immigrants. And here in California, 27% of the population wasn't born in the United States. And we have 65 million people in the country that weren't born in the United States. And we have the highest percentage ever in our history, 13%. So we're changing the demography at a time where we lost confidence in telling somebody from Mexico or China, look, you made a decision, but you have to come legally, you have to have some skills to support yourself, and we want to teach you about the American tradition, and we want you to speak English and be part of it. Instead, they got the message, come here and feel that you have a grievance against your new country. Don't ask why you would go to a country that supposedly was toxic, but nevertheless it is toxic, and we'll join you in helping you press those grievances. That was the Democratic message from the Democratic Party. So that was a changing demography, a terrible educational system, and then they're changing the law as we speak. So we have 500 sanctuary cities. We had amnesty by executive order under Obama. We have really, I work at a university, at Stanford University. There is no such thing as the First Amendment, probably not the Fourth and Fifth Amendments either. And we have cases all the time of hookups, if I could use that vernacular, that go badly, and then one of the participants, could be a month later, could be 6 months later, says that the person assaulted her, and then that person, whether he did or not, he at least has the right to face his accuser, cross-examined, and be presumed innocent. None of that's true. He's expelled from school or put on leave. He doesn't have a right to know who accused him of that or how. He doesn't have a right to a trial on campus. And so it's kind of a scary time. And it's I haven't seen anything like it in my own life, and I'm 65.
Well, I'm 71. We're in the same age bracket. But let me ask you this, and I don't mean to sound simplistic over this, but in your studies and with the young people that you address in your teachings, etc., and in your books, I'll go back to when I was a kid, and you were also, and remember the Saturday Evening Post with the covers on the magazine that showed the family hand in hand going to church, or the family sitting around a table enjoying a Thanksgiving dinner, or enjoying sitting around the Christmas tree on Christmas morning. Have we really lost that aura, that greatness of America, that it never can come back again?
Well, there's vestigial pockets of it. That was what the 2016 election was really about, that people in these key swing states said, I'm not ready to give up on traditional American values. I mean, we're not perfect, but that doesn't mean we're not good. And people can have nuclear families. They can have heterosexual marriages. They can have 3 children. They can live in small towns. They can worship. They can be very proud. They can stand up the flag. And we're not going to take it anymore. And they elected somebody deliberately so, because they had a very gifted field of 16 Republicans. It wasn't just Trump's message. It was also the messenger. They wanted a pit bull that they could cut the leash and say, go in that direction and fight. We don't want a Marcus of Queensbury Republican or Mitt Romney or John McCain to lose nobly. We want somebody, no matter what it takes, to tell people that this is not going to be the America in 20 years that you think it is. And we were kind of developing at light speed. I think everybody was very tolerant of homosexuality. They didn't want it illegal. And then Obama ran in 2008. I'm just giving one example, that he was against gay marriage. And then he was for gay marriage his second term. Okay, I think people could accept that. And then it became, if you're not endorsing it, then you're homophobic. And that same trajectory was the same thing with Obama. Said he wanted to close the border, deport people here illegally. Then he did not want to deport people illegally. Then he opened the border. Then he thought people here illegally should not be prosecuted in sanctuary cities. And the same thing with all these issues. Transgenderism all of a sudden became not just aberrant but okay, to it's in your face and you're going to accept it, and you're going to have a separate restroom or else you're toxic. And the same thing with abortion. It used to be for the Democrats rare but legal, and then it was partial birth abortion, and then late term, and then, infanticide. So I think what people were saying is we don't want this warp light speed trajectory to continue because it's taking us in a direction that we don't even recognize. And it's weakening the United States here and abroad. So that's what they wanted, an anecdote to that. And half the country still does want an anecdote. And we'll see what happens in 2020. But the same issues as 2016 are going to be up on the ballot.
Well, I've got a lot of questions, and I want to get back to the book, The Case for Trump. You're very well known. You've been a major focal point on many, many news programs. And now with this book, The Case for Trump, what's been the reaction? I mean, sure, there's a lot of positive reaction, people coming up, patting you on the shoulder, saying, great job, shaking your hand, etc. But what about the negativity? What has that done, and how has that opened your eyes about maybe the negative reaction to the book?
Well, I don't mind, I've written 24 or so books. I don't mind criticism. But what was new about this book is if you actually read the book, it's not just Trump as a sinner or saint. It's trying to analyze the strengths and weakness, why people voted for him, and why he was a better alternative than Hillary Clinton. But just that argument alone is toxic, the fact that anybody would actually say that they would vote for him. And so I was shocked at two or three things. One is the Never Trump right. I'm thinking of Bill Kristol, Gabriel Schoenfeld, Charles Sykes. They have something called the Bulwark after the Weekend Standard. They were the most vehement. They called me a Nazi. They said I was a mouthpiece for Trump-Hitler. And they tried to destroy my character. I was a racist. And that was kind of, these are people I've known my entire life. That was shocking. And then the other argument was, I thought that people would address the argument on the left, but they didn't. So if the New Yorker wanted to do an interview with me, they called up and said they liked the book, they knew me, let's just talk informally. Then they recorded it, but they promised to give me a transcript before they published it so I could, I can make sure it was authentic. They didn't do that. They lied about it. They didn't give me a transcript. They cut and pasted and rearranged it to make me look like I was an idiot. The Washington Post just said I was a racist. The New York Times said I was a racist. So I was shocked that nobody really took I'm not saying it got a lot of good reviews, but the London Times did a 2,000-word, very long review that from somebody who doesn't like Trump, but at least it was fair. But what I was surprised about was the idea that the title, which came from my editor, who's very liberal, The Case for Trump, that was the end of the discussion. Anybody who would ever write a book with that title has to be a racist and has to be destroyed. The only irony about it is, there's about 40 books out now about Trump, and this one was 5 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list.
Mm-hmm.
So in a weird way, the more that they called me a racist and it was awful, the more publicity they gave it.
Absolutely. Mr. Hansen, a question I've got, should the Republicans, and this is something that we've seen for the last 2 years with this absolute Adam Schiff and all the others really going after with pure hatred for Trump, trying to get him on a possible impeachment charge, etc. But should the Republicans right now kind of reinvent the wheel and have their own investigation as to the genesis of how this problem started in the first place? Should they go after their own investigation?
Well, yes, within a particular way of doing it. I've written that a lot now. I think it's been 2 years. I said the only way they're going to stop these psychodramas, as I call them, suing on the voting machines, introducing articles of impeachment the first day of Trump was in office, the Logan Act, the Emoluments Clause, 25th Amendment, saying he's crazy, is to go on the offensive, and then they'll stop it. But they don't really have to have a special investigator or anything, you see, because now that Mueller is over with, Trump's lawyers can tell him that if we release all of these documents and these hundreds of investigations that have been going on, it's not going to be hurting you any. You've already been exonerated on collusion. And what I mean by that is the House Intelligence Committee under Devin Nunes has millions of words, and these are what I mean by millions of words are testimonies from Clapper, Brennan, McCabe, Comey, Strzok, Page, and they're not mutually compatible. They're all in contradiction. The FISA court, if we get the unredacted versions, will show that Comey, Sally Yates, Andrew McCabe, Rosenstein deliberately misled a federal judge by not explaining that the source of evidence for writ was based on Hillary Clinton's state opposition research. Or James Comey, we know that of the 7 memos that he leaked to a friend to go to the media, 3 of them had classified information. Or we know that James Comey did not tell the truth. At least either he or McCabe lied because they cannot be reconciled, their testimonies. Or we know that he said 245 times that he couldn't remember when asked direct questions, or he didn't know. Or we don't know why the FBI put informants into the Trump campaign. It seems that John Brennan used foreign contacts to facilitate that, which is against the law for the CIA. And what I'm getting at again is all of that information is going to be coming into Barr, the Attorney General, under the guise of referrals from Devin Nunes, probably from the Senate's Lindsey Graham, referrals from Michael Horowitz, the IG of the Justice Department, referrals maybe from John Huber. And it'll just take a real Attorney General to say, you know what, I'm not partisan, but my God, this is perjury, this is obstruction of justice, this is violation to defraud or to impede a FISA court. My God, this is contrary to the CIA's law. This is person's lied under oath to Congress. And then he doesn't have to do much. The investigations have been done. All he has to do is decide whether to indict or not. I think he will indict 7 or 8 people. And then when they are indicted, I think a lot of the media will go hysterical, but they'll go hysterical on a topic other than Donald Trump did this or that.
Final thought, and I've only got a minute and a half left, but let's look ahead to 2020. The first 4 years of this administration have been wrought with all this mess with the Democrats and the raking of the mud. If Trump is elected again in 2020, can we finally see an administration that can work for we the people of the United States, or are we going to see 4 more years of the Democrats tearing this thing apart?
Well, I think if he's reelected and he keeps the Senate, maybe even wins back the House, then I think the Democratic opposition, they will, if they nominate a hard left person, I think they will, and they go down the Mondale or McGovern route, I think they'll have to regroup and say, you know what, this identity politics, socialist message is not going to work. And we tried everything in the book to get rid of Trump, so let's recalibrate. It doesn't mean they won't continue to attack him, but they will be impotent. So it'll be sort of like 1972. You remember when everybody thought after Humphrey lost in 68 they would get a better centrist. Instead, they nominated the campus radicals' favorite governor, and then they pretty much abdicated until Watergate. They had no alternative. I don't think they have an alternative. They're not talking about a market-based health care program, or they're not talking about a way of students to work off their debt rather than just be given a blank check of cancellation. They don't have I guess what I'm saying is they don't have a workable plan that most Americans can look at and say, that's right. Or they don't have a candidate who is not obsessed with his race or gender or her gender. And I just don't think they're going to vote for somebody. You can't have a party, in other words, that says we can't have white male candidates, but unfortunately the top 4 people in the polls right now are white male candidates.
Right.
How do you square that circle? So they've got a lot of problems. And if Trump can just keep the economy going, avoid an optional war, don't get into a scandal, be a little bit more discerning in his tweets, and by that I mean let his economic record speak more for itself. It's so good. I think he can win. He's done better in the midterms than Clinton and Obama did in their first midterms. He's at the same popularity rate that they were at the beginning of the 3rd year, and they both easily won the election.
Absolutely. The Case for Trump, book written by Victor Davis Hanson. Sir, where can the book be obtained quickly? I've got 30 seconds left.
VictorHanson.com, my website, or better yet, go into a Barnes & Noble or just go to Amazon.
Absolutely. I hope that you'll consent to come back in the future. I've still got a lot of questions I'd like to ask. You're an excellent guest, and best of luck with the book. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for having me.
Victor Davis Hanson, the case for Trump, an excellent guest here on our program this morning. Thank you very much. Right now, we've got to get a weather forecast on, and I'm running a little bit late, but I will quickly tell you that our weather is brought to you by the best. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, payroll services, retirement planning, the list goes on and on. With 2 offices to serve you in Burley and Rupert, don't forget Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another beautiful day here in the valley. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We're expecting mostly sunny skies for today. A little bit of a breeze out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. Gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. Mostly sunny skies, high of 70. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 47. Tomorrow, another nice one. Mostly sunny skies, high of 71. Expecting an overnight low of 44. Mid-70s under mostly sunny skies for Thursday. As we hit Friday, maybe Saturday, slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, but let's focus on the positives. Mostly sunny and 70 today. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebit the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Wow, this weather forecast, I love it. The warmer temperatures. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, they do a phenomenal job of serving you, your family, and your business. Please get a hold of them today. As I said, offices in Burley and Rupert, and they can really help you. People that are starting a business or maybe increasing their business or a partnership or a corporation, please let them help you. The professionals, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Wow, we're only a minute away before we send it back over to Wheels, and I want to quickly remind you, too, about some good friends of ours at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, yeah, health insurance, life insurance, employee benefits, all of this and so much more with people that are really dedicated and responsive to your needs. All you gotta do is just give them a call at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Let them serve you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Footnote, I'm going to be approaching Victor Davis Hanson to have him come back on the program here in the next couple of weeks, not only to talk about his book, but I also have some other very critical issues that we didn't have time for this morning, and we'll have him back. Excellent guest, and you've seen him many, many times on TV, Victor Davis Hanson. We have another very important guest coming up after the news, and he's here with his entourage. They rolled out the red carpet, made sure everything was clean and comfy. Here will be, of course, Dr. History after the CBS News. Wheels, take it away. Oh, you probably were thinking I wasn't here, but I am, and I heard the cue, but Dr. History and I were visiting, so I apologize. Morning, everybody. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the great big spring tire sale, and also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Wow. We've got a lot of things cooking here this hour. First and foremost, I want to remind everybody about Dino's Septic Service. And, of course, Dino's absolutely expanded their business to better serve you, your neighbors, everybody. Septic tank pumping and sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, water and sewer lines installed, backhoe service. And they're there with a smile on their face. Fast, fair-friendly service. All you gotta do is give them a call at 436-6526 or in Burley 678-1638. They care, and they do the job, and they really make you satisfied that you gave them a call. Dino's Septic Service with that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Don't forget Dino's Septic Service. Want to remind you, too, quickly, Thursdays, we have a segment called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Wonderful Family Store. Please stop in and see them today, and don't forget to tune in on Thursdays for Cassia County School Days at 10:10, brought to you by A Child's World. Here he is now with all of his radiant glory. Now, I don't know what we're going to talk about this morning, but last week it was the Klondike. It might be something else today, Dr. History.
It absolutely is, Zeb.
How are you?
I'm doing good. It's a nice sunny day out there. So
do you like the outdoors like I do? I just got to be outside.
I love it. Yeah, I do. Yep. So today, last week we talked about the Klondike and the gold and one thing and another. Today we're going to also talk about gold.
Uh-oh.
It's called, the title of this is called The Lost Mine of the Klickitat.
What?
The Lost Mine of the Klickitat.
That is one area in Washington that I have a hard time pronouncing.
Yeah. Well, so folks out there, this takes place in south central Washington, just above the Columbia River, a little ways. So this is the area that we're going to be talking about.
Wasn't there an Indian tribe named the Klickitats?
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So picture this: somewhere in this Klickitat district of the state of Washington, hidden among the cliffs near the Little Klickitat River, there lies a fabulous gold mine. It is so rich in gold that if you only had an iron bar or a little hammer or a pick, you could dig out a hat full of pure gold within a few days, and the finder would almost immediately become a millionaire. And if the word got out, there'd be a stampede of people heading that direction that the state of Washington has never seen. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Now, the mine was known and used by the Klickitat Indians for many years. By its use, they became known as the richest tribe of Indians on the Pacific coast. Now, they, like a lot of Indians at that time, they knew nothing about the gold or the value of it, but they did know it was a bright, shiny metal that wouldn't rust, and it could be hammered into ornaments, and they were greatly surprised upon first contact with white men to learn that the whites would trade for their golden ornaments as well as their furs, and they were even more surprised to learn that the white men would eagerly trade for the raw gold itself, just the chunks. The Indians traded gold for guns, blankets, food, and anything that they needed, and they would even trade a handful of gold for a red cotton bandana handkerchief with pictures on it. So if you had enough bandanas, you could come out pretty good.
Wow.
Now, for years, the mine was known but by one Indian at a time. So the secret was being handed down from father to son. Only one man at a time knew of the mine's location until about the year 1875. Now, in that year, the last person to know of its whereabouts was brutally murdered by a renegade white man who beat this woman to death, trying to make her tell him where the location of the mine was. So the last person was a woman, and she was murdered.
Uh-oh.
So, but we're going to go back a ways. Now, when Lewis and Clark reached the Pacific Ocean at the mouth of the Columbia River, they saw gold, which the Hudson's Bay Company was wrapping, getting ready to ship it by way of the fur route through Canada to England. Now, later on, gold was purchased from the Klickitat Indians by John Jacob Astor and the Northwest Fur Company.
Oh, my.
Then, the first settlers of Portland, Oregon, trading with the Klickitats, not only traded for their furs, but for the gold that they had. Now, I like this story, Zeb, because this is told by a guy by the name of Tom Wright. Okay, and this goes back to his family and his father, clear back at that time around the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's what Tom Wright says. He said, "My father, a very religious man, pioneered with his family of 8 children in the Klickitat District of Oregon Territory in the fall of 1877 to become a missionary to the Indians. He located our home in what is now known as the Horseshoe Bend, a large tableland almost encircled by the Big and Little Klickitat rivers, which flow in their respective canyons about a half a mile deep. He says our large mesa was covered with lots of grass, heavily timbered around the rims of the canyons." Now, have you ever been in that area?
I have.
The Horseshoe Bend?
I have,
of that area?
yeah.
Okay. So, for centuries, the Indians of the Klickitat tribe had lived...
Pardon my interruption, what are some of the today major towns or cities that people might relate to?
It's really...
I'm trying to
kind
remember.
of in the middle. It's kind of west of, like, the Tri-Cities.
Yeah, up in the... it'd be up north of Pasco and Kennewick and up in there, wouldn't it?
Kind of north and west.
Yeah.
So really central, kind of south central. So anyway, for centuries, the Indians of the tribe have lived in the depths of these canyons along the river. And there was game of all kinds. They had an abundance of salmon and trout in the rivers. They had complete protection from the elements. So the Klickitats were not forced to migrate from time to time, as did the Prairie Indians. Now, during the entire span of their existence, their only means of exit from the canyon was by an old horse trail that switched back and forth a mile in length to come out at last onto the mesa above. Now, here the trail split into a dozen narrow paths, and some of the Indians' fishing grounds, they go over to the Columbia River, or they go over by the Dalles, not that far from the Dalles. Goldendale.
Well, then I know exactly where you are.
Okay, so Goldendale, Astoria, and other places. So that's about...
And they lived in the canyon?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
kind of like that Indian tribe down in Arizona at the Grand Canyon.
Probably, yeah. And the weather was good down there. So
absolute water, everything they needed.
Yeah. Now, where this trail emerged and divided, there stood a small forest of oak, pine, and fir timber, and there was a large spring of pure bubbling water coming up, and the Indians always stopped to water their horses at this spring. After this long, hard climb from the depths below, there was water, there was wood, timber for building, were all here, and best of all, it was a handy place to contact the Indians. So Tom says, here, Dad decided to locate our home. So he was going to build a house right there where all these Indians would be coming up out of the canyon. And he goes on to say, too soon the Indians learned that Dad was an easy mark, always ready to hand out food. We learned that not only the Klickitats, but also the Yakimas, the Cayuse, and Nez Perce tribes used this old trail as well, going up and down. So consequently, he says, we were host to a whole bunch of Indians practically every day.
Did they feel safe all the time, or if they didn't give the food, would it be taken?
He doesn't go into that at all. In fact, the whole story, he doesn't talk about any fear of the Indian tribes at that time.
I see.
So
they kind of, like you said, they treated him as an easy mark. You said,
yeah. So they didn't want to hurt him.
Are they? Were they the kind of tribes and people that basically were looking for a handout?
In a way, they were. Yeah, they knew that if they stopped, that he would give them some food. So he said, we built our large log house, a barn, outbuildings, and a small church. Because remember, he wanted to be a missionary to these Indians. And the Indians would come in large numbers to sit around and watch. And he says, having found that Dad would give them food, the Klickitats regarded us as their particular property. And so here's what happened. One day, Tom says, to our great surprise, a kind of a dirty-looking, scroungy-looking guy with long gray hair hanging down his back spoke to Dad in broken English. He told Dad that he was a white man, a Frenchman. All right? He had lived with the Indians over 40 years and had forgotten nearly all the language, but he could still speak some English. His white name was Morgan. Okay, remember this guy. We're going to talk a lot about Morgan. He'd married an Indian woman, raised 3 children, his wife having died 2 years before. Now remember that. His wife died 2 years before this. Morgan had given up the ways of a white man and now living with the Indians was their village drunk. Okay, he was always drunk. He'd spent everything he had to get liquor, and that was his existence, was the village drunk.
With the Indians?
With the Indians, living with the Indians.
Holy cow.
So they didn't care a lot for this guy, not a high reputation.
So he was leeching off the Indians?
Probably, yeah, getting whatever he could.
So it's funny they didn't throw him out.
Well, yeah, why didn't they? But it gets better. So one day, this is the highlight here, Zeb. One day Morgan was so drunk, he fell off his horse, broke his neck, and died. Okay? So that was a blessing to the children and to his 3 children, because the mother had died 2 years before, and the tribe, they weren't really mourning his loss. Now, about a year before his death, Morgan had invited himself, Tom says, to our house and spent the night.
How would you like to have that visit in your house?
He might have slept out in the barn. I don't know.
Oh, my.
So he says he told Dad this following strange story. All right. Morgan, a French Canadian on contract to trap for the Northwest Fur Company, had heard rumors of a fabulous gold mine known only to the Klickitat Indians. So one day at the fort, he saw a Klickitat chief trading gold. So Morgan got pretty excited and greedy, and he decided to locate the source of the gold. Of course, the Indian chief wasn't going to tell him anything, but Morgan followed the chief and his party back to the Klickitat country and moved in with the Indians, and pretty soon he persuaded them to adopt him into the tribe. So he became kind of a blood brother, went through some ceremony to become one of them.
He was the relative you wish that would go away.
Yes. How long are you going to stay today, you know? Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
So now Morgan felt he was on his way and would soon learn the location of the mine. So several times he was permitted to see and handle the gold. So he knew it was real. And after months of waiting, watching, and questioning, Morgan was finally told this story. Okay, so here's the legend of the gold. So, and this is what the Indian story. They said, many, many snows ago, the Great Spirit appeared to the chief of the Klickitats in a dream and told them that he had placed much gold in a remote spot for the benefit of the tribe. It must always be used for the nation as a whole. The Great Spirit would take the chief and show him the gold, but the chief must be very careful never to tell any living man where it was. Now, there was just one short season each fall, and at this time it would be safe for the chief to go and gather what gold he wanted to get, just as much as he wanted.
Holy smokes, they had an endless supply.
Right. So he just got what he thought he needed. So the chief would go. He would stay no more than 15 days at any one time and must never go near the spot at any other time or season of the year. Mm-hmm. So one Indian knew where it was. Uh-huh. When the chief came to die, he must call in his oldest son and let him know the secret and location of the mine. Then the boy must never let the secret be known. So that was how the secret had been passed down for years, by handing it down from father to oldest son and each succeeding generation. Now, this is where Morgan kind of comes in. Finally, the last chief who had the secret came to a time when he was going to be dying, and he did not have a son. So he called his young daughter to his bedside, told her the secret, and made her swear to carry on just as they had.
You're not going to tell me they got married.
Zeb, you're getting ahead of me.
I'm sorry.
You saw that coming.
For some reason, it just jumped up and said to me, that's what's going to happen.
Okay, so here she is, this beautiful young Indian woman. She's 20 years old. And upon learning which girl it was, Morgan began spying, okay? And each fall at a certain time, the girl would disappear, returning in a couple of weeks with her bandana full of gold, and she would give this to the chief to be handed out or used for supplies or whatever they needed. So Morgan, being the sly, wonderful person he was, he started giving this beautiful Indian gal some presents, some cheap jewelry, some blankets, and finally he talked her into marrying him, and they did. They got married. So they have a family of 3 children.
Oh, my
2 boys and a girl.
To this dirty old urchin?
Yeah. So here we go. So for years, Morgan would watch his wife. As each fall she prepared to go for the gold, she knew that he watched her, but always she tricked him and got away without being followed. She knew what he was...
After they were married.
Yeah, she knew that that's what he was trying to do.
Listen up, wives and husbands.
Yeah, so when she returned with a pack of gold, Morgan actually would try to get the gold from her, but the chief and the other Indians would step in and say, no.
And she had 3 kids with this guy?
Yeah. So... one fall, Morgan was watching and waiting, and he saw that his wife was kind of getting ready for this annual pilgrimage in to get the gold for her annual trip. So what he did is he kind of snuck out that night and said, I'm going to go hunt out here or something, and gave her some excuse. So he hid in the woods where he could watch. So he's watching, and pretty soon she slips away from the lodge, and she traveled for miles up the little Klickitat River, and she came at last to the mouth of the Black Canyon, which is a deep, dark canyon that comes in from the east to meet the Klickitat. Okay, so you got the picture. She's going to go down into this deep canyon.
Yeah.
So at the mouth of Black Canyon stands a large, they call it a crag, that projects out into the river. So I guess like an outcropping.
Kind of like a big clump of rocks or something, yeah.
And so to get past this crag, a traveler must swim or wade through a big eddy of water. So there must be some whitewater, some rapids that surrounds the base of this big rock. And the only other way to get around it, you'd have to climb up this steep trail clear to the top and go over that way. But she didn't do that. She waded around it. Well, Morgan was watching, okay, and he saw how she kind of bundled her clothes and went around this crag, and he watched her start wading upstream through this eddy of water. So Morgan, he followed after she disappeared, and he started wading around this crag, hoping to surprise his wife in some cave or a crevice or something. He was expecting to see her just getting the gold. But there was no cave, and there was no opening where she could hide. Morgan gave up the hunt and returned to his lodge at the Indian camp. Mrs. Morgan was never seen nor heard of again.
Oh, really?
Gone. All right?
The plot thickens.
The plot is thickening. So Tom says, he goes on to say, the first season we were in our new home, a young Indian woman appeared at the house and asked Mother for work. She said she was a good housekeeper, she knew how to wash, iron, and take care of kids, and she was a very light-colored, neat, and clean, and she could speak a little English. She told Mother she was a widow, her husband having been killed the year before in a fight with a grizzly bear. She was left with 2 young boys to support. She gave Mother a long Indian name, but she asked just to be called Mary Ann. Okay, this is going to fit in a minute, Zeb.
Well, I hope so.
Okay, so you see, so what does this have to do with it? Okay, so anyway, the young Indian gal proved to be a good worker, and Mother engaged her to come in 1 day a week and do the washing and the ironing for us kids. And Mary Ann's 2 boys were about my age, she says, and we became great pals. Mary Ann, in the meantime, had learned that, they'd learned that her name was Mary, and so they just called her Mary Ann. Now, go back. After Morgan's death, Mary Ann was a child of Morgan and his first wife. Okay, Morgan, the Frenchman, and his wife. I said he had 3 kids.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one of them.
Mary Ann.
Mary Ann.
What was his wife's name?
It never says.
Never says. So the Indian maiden that was basically forced or coerced to marry Morgan, she was never named.
Well, she was, but she's the one that disappeared.
Yeah, she's gone.
Yeah, she's gone. So now Morgan and the 3 kids were left.
Okay, but no, my question was, if she left while she had the 3 kids, what happened? Who raised the 3 kids?
Well, probably relatives.
The tribe?
Oh, yeah, because Morgan was a drunk.
He was.
Yeah, he wasn't a father figure, so to speak.
Okay.
So Morgan's gone, his wife is gone, and Mary Ann, the daughter, she now tells her story. Okay, she was Morgan's daughter, but she hated him for the rat that he was, and just hated the guy, you know. Anyway, so he's gone. So she said that her father, Morgan, had been the most despicable man living. He had married her mother for the sole purpose of locating the mine. And he had beaten this gal, his wife. He had kicked her, but she would never reveal the secret of the gold. I mean, she kept that secret until, she disappeared. Well, came the night that Morgan followed Mary Ann's mother from camp. She never returned, but Morgan returned and told the Indians practically the same story that he had told Tom's dad. But Mary Ann, as well as all the tribe, knew that Morgan lied. He had caught her mother, and trying to make her tell him the secret of the gold, had killed her and somehow gotten rid of her body. So when he followed her down that river, she wouldn't tell him he killed her, and that's, how she got killed, they think. So the lost secret of the fabulous gold mine had been known to the Klickitats for many years, and now that was gone. Nobody knew where it was. But Mary Ann actually suspended around her neck with a buckskin thong on festive occasions. Mary wore a crude, handmade cross of gold, and the cross had been made and given to her by her mother. So we know that this is a true story, and Tom says, as told to my family by the Klickitat Indians themselves, to the lost mine of the Klickitat.
Holy cow, it's still there?
It's there somewhere.
Well, let's go.
But it's, Zeb, it sounds like it's going to be a rough path, a rough road to go, and wading through whitewater, I don't know.
My. Well, we've got the semblance of making a map.
Well, we know it's South Central Washington.
Well, see, that narrowed it down, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, this is like the Lost Dutchman mine and some of those others.
It's in Arizona.
Yeah, good
we
luck.
got it narrowed down.
Yeah, good luck. But anyway,
so basically, this is a true story.
This is a true story. I got this.
And the gold is still there, but the Klickitat Indians never benefited from it.
Not after the last woman was killed.
Wow.
So they did for a few generations.
Yeah.
And so it's still got to be down there somewhere, and people that are familiar with that area might know more exactly where we're talking.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we're not here in the studio next week, we have our picks and our shovels, and we have left.
We're heading to the Klickitat.
So basically, that story is a mystery that ongoes today.
It is. And I got this from the True West magazine. There's this goes clear back to like the 1968 magazine of the book. So.
We ought to get a hold of a member of the Klickitat tribe. Say that fast 5 times.
You know, surely that story has been passed on.
Oh, yeah.
To members of the tribe.
If there is anybody out in the audience that is a member through blood to the Klickitat tribe, call us and we'll have you on the air.
You know, Zeb, if they'll go to my webpage, dr-history.com,
there you go.
There's a place for comments. Just hit on that comment.
There you go.
I would love to hear from anybody up in that area.
Yeah.
If you have some information or you've heard of that story, leave a comment on my page.
I appreciate it. Dr. History, you hit a home run again today, which is better than the Cubs have done lately. Anyway, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and schedule a tune-up for your whole home comfort system. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. And if you need a new home comfort system, they're offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. Check it out today. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459. Terms and conditions apply. See the dealer for details. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Right now, we're going to send this over to our main studio. I'll be back in about 3 minutes. Don't you go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Once again, I want to remind you about our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and along with Lennox, with their home comfort systems, they're offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. Check it out today. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ramsey Heating and Electric on Overland in Burley. This next story has just got me completely up in arms and mad because you got your land, but you can't build on your land. If you want to sell your land, never mind. We're going to talk to the lawyer involved with Pacific Legal Foundation. His name is David Dearson. Good morning, David. How are you?
I'm doing well, Zeb. Good morning. Thanks very much.
I am confused. California is basically wacky-tobacco times in modern-day history, and I don't disbelieve anything that comes out of that state. But what are you saying that if you own land, you have to now promise that if you're going to own it, that you have to always farm it. And if you decide that you can't farm or you retire or you die, then you can't sell it. What's going on here?
Well, so first of all, it's not the whole state of California. It's Marin County, although the policies in Marin County are being approved and certified by the California Coastal Commission. So they do have the state's approval here. But essentially the promise to continue farming forever is something that they require as a condition of getting a building permit to build a new dwelling. So if you're on land that's zoned agricultural in Marin County and you want to build a new house, say for your kids or for anything, and that's what's happening in our client's case, you'll have to make a promise to the county that you're going to remain involved in commercial agriculture, essentially in perpetuity. Either that, or you've got to lease the land to somebody else who will.
Isn't this just reeking of kind of a communistic approach to owning land or having land, that the government comes in and tells you, the property owner, what can or can't be done with your land?
Yeah, absolutely, and it goes beyond, it goes beyond regular zoning ordinances, which, we can talk about that as a separate issue. I'm not a big fan of zoning ordinances really in general, but the problem here is they know that they can't demand this sort of promise outright, that it would be totally unconstitutional for them to make these kind of demands. So they think they're being clever by requiring it as a condition of a permit. So they're not demanding it outright. They're just saying, if you want to get a permit to build a dwelling, then we'll need you to make this promise. But unfortunately for the county, the Supreme Court has already said that kind of trickery is not going to fly either. And if you can't demand something outright, you can't make it a condition on a government benefit.
Okay, now be more specific and help me a little bit on this, David. I'm very familiar with the state of California. I've rodeoed all over that state for years and years and years. Marin County, give me some landmarks, give me some towns. Is that up there by Santa Rosa, up in that area?
Yeah, it is. It's just north of San Francisco. By Petaluma.
Ah, okay. And so, how in the world did a law or an ordinance like this ever get passed in the first place?
Well, they've been going at this process of re-updating their local coastal program in Marin County for about 10 years now, and actually, Pacific Legal Foundation's been involved pretty much every step of the way, telling them that this policy is not going to fly. But unfortunately, they've not heeded our warnings. Now, counties are required under the California Coastal Act to develop these sorts of local coastal programs, but they can't do so in a way that violates constitutional rights.
You know, I'm really shocked. You know, agriculture in the state of California, I mean, when you talk about the San Joaquin Valley, it's probably the breadbasket of produce to the world, and agriculture is so strong down there. And then the further north you go, of course, with the great wine industry, etc. So basically what Marin County is saying, that if the owners of this land become disabled or unable to work or whatever, or die somehow through the family, it has to be sold to a new owner who is capable of farming it. And once that doesn't happen, then what happens? The state takes over?
Well, it's a promise that runs with the land. So anybody who ends up getting the land either by sale or inheritance is going to be subject to that promise.
Uh-huh. So what is the Pacific Legal Foundation, you in particular, what are you trying to do to get this stopped in effect in California all over, or just in Marin County? Tell us a little bit more. Is this engulfing or encompassing other areas of the state?
No, so this policy in particular is restricted to Marin County, and we recently filed a challenge to the policy, and so we're asking the court to declare that the policy is unconstitutional and to enjoin the county and the commission from enforcing it.
Oh, my goodness. And we've got a call with a question, but what's been the response so far?
From whom?
The courts and or the other side. Are they kind of laughing and sneering at you and saying, we're going to do it our way or the highway, or what's the general feeling there?
Well, the county and the commission both insist that the case is not yet ripe, because they say that there are a couple of other procedural steps that need to be taken before this policy comes into effect. Now, they've been saying that the whole time, and this is not the first challenge we filed, and we've agreed to hold off and let some of those procedural steps play out. But at this point, we disagree with them, and we think that after the California Coastal Commission has certified the latest rounds of policy coming out of the county, that it is effectual and it is an appropriate time now to have the court step in.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air.
Well, let me tell you, California is the most screwed up state. I study that state constantly, and I don't even know if it's intentional. It just happens. what they're doing there is unbelievable. What they did to those up in Humboldt County, where they knew that they were growing, from the 60s, they were growing weed, and they knew it. And they knew those people were living off that. And some of those people, not everybody up there in Murder Mountain is insane. Some of those people were docile people who were growing their weed and being good stewards. And now, because they legalized the weed, all it was a way to get money out of these people, and they're putting these good people, not that growing weed is a good thing, but they weren't harming anybody. Now they're putting them out of business. They couldn't have cared less about the people. There's such a-holes down there. And then in the Central Valley of California, they run the water down the river over the Oroville Dam, out down the river, down to the ocean, that they say is rising in level, but they can't build a dam and save it. And in some of the Central Valley, they can't even irrigate the most prosperous, fertile farm ground on earth. They can't do it. But now they want to tell people in Marin County that they've got to farm for the rest of their life, but they won't let them farm in the Central Valley. These people are insane. I'm going to hang up.
Caller, thank you very much, and respond to the caller if you would, David. Thank you.
Sure. Well, I'm not too familiar with the issues in Humboldt County, and in fact, I'm a pretty new California resident. I graduated from Vanderbilt Law School in Nashville, Tennessee last year, and I've been living in Sacramento for the past 8 months or so now. But it's definitely the case that the governance in this state seems to have quite an aggressive approach to telling people what to do with their lives, to taking people's money, to raising taxes, and not a big value of freedom and property rights in the Golden State, unfortunately.
Well, this is interesting because you said you're from Vanderbilt University and back east in Tennessee, the volunteer state, etc. But when you go out there and you see a completely different personality and a completely different complexion to a state that is one of the wealthiest, richest, and has more assets, I think, than most any other state, and that's California, and you see the wacky that's going on in their state legislature. As an attorney, I mean, do you feel like you've been thrown like Daniel into the lion's den out there?
Well, the weather's nice, and it's a lot of nice drives and hiking. For me as an attorney, I feel like it's feeding day. I work at Pacific Legal Foundation. We're a constitutional law firm, and we sue to vindicate property rights and economic liberty, and there's plenty of work to do here in California.
What basically do you want to have happen in this case, David? I know that you're, on behalf of Pacific Legal Foundation, involved in this. Do you want to try to revoke this and let the property owners, if in case they become disabled, be able to sell their property to whomever wants the property? Or what basically is the bottom line that Pacific Legal Foundation's after?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're asking the court for a declaration that this policy is unconstitutional, and we're asking them for an injunction to stop the county or the commission from enforcing the policy, so that people who live in agriculturally zoned lands and want to get a permit to build a new dwelling house aren't going to have to make these kind of absurd concessions to the state or to the county.
Well, you got a lot of work to do down there. It must have been kind of a culture shock to come from the eastern shores of our country and go out there. California's got more than their share of problems right now that are self-imposed by their state legislature, like San Francisco and L.A., the messes that are going on in those cities. So I wish you the best of luck on behalf of the Pacific Legal Foundation in helping property owners, because I'd be worried right now if I were a rancher or a farmer in California, because I honestly think we ain't seen nothing yet. What are your thoughts?
What's that? Thanks very much, Zeb.
Well, I was just saying, I don't think that if you're a property owner in California, ranching or farming, the way the legislature is going, I don't think the agricultural problems have seen anything yet. I think it's going to get worse in the future. What are your thoughts?
Well, it certainly could. I mean, I definitely think it's on a trend bad, and it's getting worse. At least I don't see anything, aside from the work of some excellent organizations coming in to stem the tide there. So I hope you're wrong, but I don't believe you are.
I absolutely enjoyed having you on, David. You're a newcomer to my program with a subject matter that just reeks of government telling people what to do or what not to do. Thank you so much. And if people want to follow this story or any story with the Pacific Legal Foundation, give us the website and that information if you would, please.
Sure, it's pacificlegal.org.
Okay. You're a good man. Thank you for coming on the program, and I'll be in touch with you. Thank you, David Dearson. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Zeb. I appreciate it.
All right, sir. God bless. Have a wonderful day. You imagine the government basically in California saying, well, thou shalt not do this unless you do this, and we're going to have complete control. My goodness, that's not the United States that I was raised in, for heaven's sakes. Thanks to the Pacific Legal Foundation. Let's also remind you, quick, I'm almost on time this time. Wheels is going to be shocked. It's time for the weather, brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Delicious meats, whether you're talking about the marinated pork ribs or maybe the tri-tips or the different kinds of bacons or all the breakfast sausages and the bratwurst. Oh, I mean, the list goes on and on. Absolutely delicious from Scarro's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another beautiful day here in the valley. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We're expecting mostly sunny skies for today. A little bit of a breeze out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. Gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. Mostly sunny skies, high of 70. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 47. Tomorrow, another nice one. Mostly sunny skies, high of 71. Expecting an overnight low of 44. Mid-70s under mostly sunny skies for Thursday. As we hit Friday, maybe Saturday, slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, but let's focus on the positives. Mostly sunny and 70 today. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Excellent job. Thank you, Gina. Beautiful day outside, too. Our weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. That telephone number again, 324-7657. Don Scarrow and the crew with absolutely this slogan that is so true. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarro's Meats. All right, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There's a call. Good morning. You are on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Zeb, I apologize for getting so mad. That state drives me crazy, but I don't want to sound rude on your phone, on your show. I apologize. I can't even believe what they do down there.
Well, the policies that they have in the state of California and the laxity of the laws and the protection of their citizenry, it's appalling. I was reading a story this morning, and this absolutely will drive you nuts when you hear about this, but they have figured out, and let me get it right here, they have figured it out that the human waste on the streets of San Francisco in L.A. is so bad right now that they're putting it in the form of poundage, weight of poundage, to get rid of it and get it cleaned up. That's how bad it is in California. And I guess my question is, why in the world have they allowed beautiful cities and people that live there to be suffering with this human filth all over their streets? I just can't imagine what's going on.
Well, maybe this is a new industry for the Green New Deal, And do you know that literally cleaning up the mess in California has created new jobs, new types, new definitions of work, new definitions of how they go about it? Because in some respects, Zeb, they have to wear suits because it's toxic.
Oh, absolutely.
And the environment is it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's needles or unruly homeless people who might have guns or knives. and then they have to move them. Can you imagine having to move people who have no intentions of doing anything?
Well, my imagination is stuck in a rut this way instead of going the other way with the people. My fascination with the problems in California stems to the fact that all of these cities, L.A. and San Francisco, and for that matter, the entirety of the state, are being led, if you want to call it being led, by Democratic, liberal people that absolutely don't know Khmer from Sikkim. You would think the rest of California, and for that matter our other 49 states, would look at the lunacy that's going on being led by liberal Democrats, and they're letting their cities turn into Sodom and Gomorrah and garbage dumps. That ought to tell you something.
I'll tell you what, Zeb, the writing is on the wall. It's obvious. All you got to do is believe what your eyes see, but they deny it. We're delusional.
Yeah.
We're mentally ill in some respects.
It's amazing to me, Randy, that going into another election era, 2020, that any Democrat that is running on the platform of supporting gay rights or transgenderism or absolutely hate Trump, they don't have a policy, they just hate Trump, they want to get rid of him, they don't have anything to stand on but the gullibility and the naivete of the American people. That's what surprises me. Why can't they see through this smokescreen? The Democrats have nothing.
Well, I don't know, Zeb. I tell you what, right is wrong and black is white, and you know what I mean? You can't even believe what you see.
Yeah.
But you know it's real, and you say, well, come on, folks. Can you wise up a little and realize what's going on? I don't expect you to agree with everything I say or do, but can you at least care about your country?
Amen.
Care about that.
That's a good way to wrap it up, Randy. I appreciate your remarks. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, Deb.
I was shocked last night when they ran a kind of a overview on television of all the Democrats that are running for the nomination possibly of the Democratic Party, whether it's Kamala Harris or whether it's wild-haired Bernie or Elizabeth Warren, doesn't make any difference. And they keep yelling and screaming impeachment. Impeachment. That word and that move to impeachment, with, of course, that congresswoman from California that's so disgusting and detestable, Maxine Waters. But impeachment. Would somebody call me in the time remaining on this program this morning and tell me how you're going to arrange to follow the likes of Adam Schiff like lemmings over a cliff and organize impeachment for Donald Trump on what charge? Please go ahead. Are you going to try to use the terminology collusion? Well, that's not going to hold water. Are you going to try to use the terminology obstruction of justice? Well, that's not going to hold any water either. Or please explain what charge, what criminal offense, what has Donald Trump done that would regulate the ways and means of trying to enforce impeachment? Somebody call me quickly and tell me, because as much as I read, as much as I try to study, whether it's also by having guests like Victor Davis Hanson on my program, what and how would you ever enforce impeachment? Because there is no charge or anything concrete. Please explain that to me. Because then, please explain it to the Democrats, too. Right now, I want to remind you about our dear friends and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and they've got a great big spring tire sale going on. Hold on, caller, I'll be right there. They are providing the spring tire sale at all their locations for you to save money and get the best of tires. So get in there today, whether it's for your car, your pickup, your SUV, horse trailer, boat trailer, doesn't make any difference. They've got all the sizes and all the tread designs for your vehicle. So get in there today and save money. Along with the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries, all of this and more with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, quickly, I've got 1 minute left.
Okay, they're doing it by him telling the truth and doing good for the country. They don't want the country to have anything done good for it, and all they want to do is use lies. And they think anybody else that don't should be out of office and out of the presidency and never hold an office in the Senate or the House. If you tell the truth, you're a bad guy to them. And most people respect the truth, honor the truth, and love the truth. And you have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless you and Deanne and your whole audience. Have a great day. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Jerry, thank you very much for your call. Great way to wrap up the program. Tomorrow on the show, we have Dave Bigo, and let's see what else have we got coming on here. Susan, lady by the name of Susan Crockford is going to be on here talking about the idiocy of global warming, climate change. And then at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm really looking forward to this. We've got Representative Fred Wood. We're going to be talking about vaccinations, immunizations. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Medicaid issue, all of that tomorrow on the show. So it should be and will be very interesting. Again, thank you for all your kind remarks and your well wishes. I missed yesterday, kind of had an emergency run to the old hospital, but we're feeling a lot better this morning. I don't know why. Didn't find anything out, but we'll be back again tomorrow morning at 8:06. Ride the horse for 3 hours right here on Zebeth Ranch, and we always wrap it up by saying the way things were, the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. Have a great day.